Hey,
Hello,
come on.
Facebook. Happy Monday to you. It's beautiful and sunny here in St. Louis.
It's 73?
73.
Really?
It was 28 the 2 mornings ago when I was running. Today it's 73.
Oh, that's warmer than it is here. That's a bummer.
Yeah. I'm sure you'll get it tomorrow.
Yeah, probably.
That's nice. So
Yes.
time to answer your listener questions. So join us here in the chat. Give your feedback. We'll have fun.
Yes. We are excited to be here.
I'm still in Alani hanging out with George.
She is. I'm so glad she got to meet George. That's awesome. That's awesome. You're the only one now, Mike.
No, I got to get out there.
Oh, look at your straw. Yeah.
I'm going to make a holster so I can have this on vacation when they get rid of the straws.
Oh my gosh. They didn't.
Well. Hello, Matthew Dominguez. Hello, James. Hello, everybody. Hello. All right, let's answer questions because
Okay. Hey, George is here.
Speaking of the devil, Shaka.
Yes.
Alfred's in the house. All right. We're like a morning show to George. That's so funny.
I know. We are.
I know. It's so funny. And we're like late night radio for the folks in Europe, too.
That's true.
Hey, Tim. That's crazy. Like, podcasting is so cool because you could be anywhere in the world.
It is. Awesome. It really is cool. You really can be.
You can't get on those ships, though, because I tried to book those for guests, and by the time Silver Day came around, the whole ship was full.
It was done. Yeah.
Yep. Bummer. Okay, so let me cue up the first question. There it is.
Which just means that obviously that is a popular sailing, and that they would be a fool not to do that sailing again with the bigger ships. So.
The Wonder's awesome. I like the Wonder. So.
Yeah.
Hello, Laura. Hello, Craig. Hope I didn't miss anybody. Hello, Jessica.
Hey, he finally laid down. I'm Opie. I'm a pain in the butt.
Just make sure he doesn't step on anything. Your power doesn't go out this week.
I'm hoping the power doesn't go out this week. Good Lord.
How many of you could tell last week's Wednesday show had we recorded on 2 different days? I think I did a pretty good job editing. You probably couldn't tell. Maybe. Right in the middle of a question, we stopped and recorded the next day.
That's right.
First, Tim, I don't know. Yeah, I probably will see First Man. I'm going to probably wait till it comes out at home. I have seen my favorite. If I was on an island and I could only watch one thing for the rest of my life, it's the mini series. It's called From the Earth to the Moon. That was produced by Tom Hanks, like in the 90s. It was actually the Mission Control was at Disney Studios, Disney Hollywood Studios. The shots there, but it's a 12-part series, and we use it to teach at space camp. I love that. It's all factual. It's from the Chaikin book, A Man on the Moon. So awesome. But I gotta go. Yeah, I'll probably go see it. I just heard that they took some liberties, which I like. Facts. I don't want.
Well, it's a movie, Mike. It's not.
I don't want drama that wasn't real. Like, there's enough drama in Landing on the Moon. You don't have to make any more. Yeah, that's what I've heard. So we'll see.
Just saying, it's a movie, so there's going to be a little bit of.
I do love some Apollo astronauts.
But don't you love that movie October Sky or something like that too?
Yes, because I've met Rebecca many times.
Yeah, well, there are some liberties obviously probably taken with that too. So come on.
Yeah, I've read the book many times too.
Yeah, exactly. So just saying.
No, here's a fact for the people that are here early, right before we start. The movie's called October Sky, but the book is called Rocket Boys. And if you take the letters in October Sky and rearrange them, you can use the exact same letters for Rocket Boys.
Ah, look at that.
Space Camp, that's right. There's a name for that. I can't remember what it is. Last time I worked at Space Camp, so it was a long time ago, 15 years. 15 years. Amazing, my flight suit still fits. Hey, Donna, your mom's here.
Yes, I see that. Hi, Mom.
All right, let's earn our money here by answering questions.
Earn money? I'm not earning any money. What are you talking about?
You buy something with the Amazon affiliate link or buy a t-shirt.
Are you getting paid and I'm not? What is this?
Somebody could buy a t-shirt for you. They could buy we just had to buy a unicorn onesie for Mallory, so that's how we earn money.
Oh my gosh, is that her Halloween costume?
Yep. And now they're going to Claire's tonight to get the horn. Apparently, Claire sells unicorn horns. Like, how do you find that? Like, how do you ever find that out? Like,
Google or Claire's.com or
what do you do? Unicorn horn search. That's great. It'd be dangerous.
Just Claire's.com they have everything. So trust me.
A bunch of junk. It's a big junk store.
They have Mickey Mouse ears at Claire's.
Do they?
Yeah, they have Minnie Mouse ears. Yeah. That's where I bought 2 pairs of ears because they had kind of rainbowy looking ones, and then they had rose gold ones that are total knockoffs. And I mean, they're Disney branded, like they're actually Disney branded, but they were a heck of a lot cheaper than the rose gold ones they sell at Walt Disney World.
Did you see
So,
I saw today in the Orlando Sentinel that the company that makes that shirt that says "My favorite Disney princess is my wife's" getting sued? Now they're not getting sued by Disney; they're getting sued by another company that does the Simply Southern shirts.
really
They also do a shirt that says "Mermaid hair don't care,"
interesting.
because the Simply Southern has a shirt that says "Salty hair don't care" for like beach.
Well, that's not the same.
They say it is, so they're getting sued.
That's not the same.
Maybe it was an anagram. Thank you,
That's what I was gonna say. I thought it was an anagram, but I wasn't entirely sure.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I guess it would be an anagram. I'm just dumb. All right, tough questions.
Questions.
Got it here. Okay, here we go. This is 1398. Wow, almost 1400. 1400 is already.
Wow.
1403 is actually in the can.
Wow.
Okay, here we go. Welcome to episode 1398 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you. 1 week to the big day. That's right. You got to get it ready to go out and meet the great pumpkin in the most sincere pumpkin patch in your town. Be like Linus and Lucy, and the pumpkin will bring you lots of presents, just like the big man in a couple months. So you got to believe, you got to be ready. So coming up 1 week, I know when I was a kid, it was always a big deal. I forget well, let me get Rikki introduced here and let me ask her, because we're kind of different generations slightly. I want to see if do this too, but of course Pam's still living the life out in Alani with George and friends and family and living the sweet life, but we're here answering your listener questions. We have Rikki from DisneyWorldAfterAll.com, touringplans.com, and the Mouse for Less. Happy Wednesday, Rikki. Rikki, what are you going to be for Halloween this year?
I have nothing. So
Social media mogul that you are.
yes, exactly. Really, honestly, I don't know. I haven't even gotten that far yet, and we're a week out. So yeah, I don't even know. I do have my Minnie Mouse dress, so I can always dress up as Minnie Mouse, and I do have the Tangled dress now, but I don't have the blonde wig, so that's probably out. So probably Minnie Mouse or nothing. So
you guys dress up at your work when you?
Yeah. We actually have an event that's tonight that we're supposed to dress up at. I highly doubt that anybody will be dressed up because it's a Wednesday before, Halloween. So I doubt anybody, and everybody will have worked all day. So I highly doubt anybody's going to come to work. And then, because the event is from like 6 o'clock in the evening until 10 o'clock at night. So like, I very much doubt that anybody's going to then go home after work at 5 o'clock and then come back and dress up. So yeah, probably not.
I totally would. I'm going to get a flight down to Atlanta. I wear my flight suit from Space Camp. That's always kind of a medium costume. You could be an astronaut. That's easy. But I'm just saying, when you come to the recording next week on Monday, if you join us at about 5:30 Eastern, we will have costumes. Whoever's here, I'm going to force them to wear costumes. I have mine picked out, so it does have a Disney slant to it.
Oh, well, there you
go. Anyway, real quick about Halloween.
Yes.
Did you used to, like, I think this might have been like, you might be too young, but when I was younger, we had these costumes you would buy at the store, and I guess it was like Venture or Target or something like that came out, that they came with like a plastic mask with the like rubber band on the back, but the body was like a smock, like it was a plastic smock, and it just kind of, and it even had like a pocket with like a picture of, if you were a stormtrooper, it'd have like a picture of like a stormtrooper on the corner, so you knew what you were trying to be. They're real cheap, or they came in like a little box. I can't remember, but it was I was so pumped to get those. Did you have those?
I think when I was very little, Mom is in the chat. She would tell me, she would remember. But I think I remember them when I was little. I don't remember if I dressed up in any of them, but I do remember them. So like very, very, very little. But yeah, I don't know if I actually dressed up with them. Now, 1 year for Halloween, I did dress up as a dead lady from Titanic. So there was that. Although everybody thought I was Rose, which I was not. I was actually somebody who died in the Titanic, but that's okay.
It was real cold, Rose.
Yeah.
My best was I was one of the singers from Kiss, and my mom painted my face with like the star on the eye, and I had
nice,
awesome. But like my body was like the Kiss it came with the mask. I guess my mom painted my face instead, but I had the body like suit, the plastic.
That's
thing.
awesome. Now, I did go one year as Ariel from The Little Mermaid, and that was really cool because that was an actual, I think, like an actual Disney costume. Mom and Dad like splurged and bought like a Disney store costume, and yeah, that was. I used it for a talent show too, but yeah, I actually dressed up as Ariel. Now that was my favorite costume, but.
Yep. Scott's saying you look very Merida-ish.
I do look Merida-ish. Yeah, I should dye my hair a little more red, although it looks pretty red the way it is right now. But
all right, well, let's jump into the questions.
People, yes, we're here for questions, not Halloween. I was Britney Spears too. That's right. I did dress up as Britney Spears.
Yeah.
I have to find that picture. I do have it somewhere.
Okay, so I got the song "Crazy." Brittany's up first. Hey, Mike, I've recently started listening to your podcast. I love listening to it while I train for my first Run Disney event, the Star Wars 10K, in April. Despite living only 2.5 hours from Orlando, I have not been to Disney World in almost 12 years. Even then, I only went on random day-long school trips. I've never experienced the resorts or the parks at night, at least not to my memory. That being said, my son turns 3 in February, and we've decided to make the Star Wars race weekend a birthday vacation as well. I've read so many blogs, booked our ADRs, and reserved a room at Caribbean Beach. Any advice on a 3-year-old in the parks? Specifically, I've reserved a lot of character dining. Is there any in particular that you feel is perfect for a young 3-year-old on his first trip? Also, I'm thinking I'm overdoing it trying to enjoy a birthday week along with a Run Disney event. Thank you. Brittany's down in Lake City, Florida. All right. So first of all, shame on you for not going to Walt Disney World and you live that close.
That's right.
Man, everybody's like, no, I would love to live 2.5 hours. I'd be there like 3 times a week to have dinner. But that's just the crazy Disney fans that we all are. So no problem. Here's the one thing you're doing wrong, Brittany. Take him before he's 3. He's free.
That's true.
You're paying for him this time. No, just kidding. Just kind of, not really. Okay, so we're going to give this pirate a great 3rd birthday at Walt Disney World. Let's talk character dining first. Couple came to me right off the top. Chef Mickey's. If he's like Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, the Fab Five, if that's kind of where he is, I think that's where a lot of 3-year-olds are, as far as like the Disney Junior. It's kind of the Playhouse Disney crew and stuff. So maybe a Chef Mickey's, that's a fun one because it's like a party every 30 minutes in there. You're waving napkins. The food's really something a kid would like. There's like sweets and there's savory stuff. It's really good, especially for breakfast. I like it. Also, I think, if you want to go off the beaten path, old Tusker House, kind of, again, the Fab Five, well, at least most of them. I think it's Donald and Mickey and Minnie and Daisy. I don't think. But it's kind of safari themed, but the food's really good over there too. A lot easier to get an ADR over at Tusker House. So what else? I mean, other character dining suggestions, or what could a 3-year-old do? Maybe a Jedi Training Academy or something at the studios. I don't know. Yeah,
that might work. You're also, I mean, the studios is going to be the park, I think, because they have the Disney Junior. It will be the dance party when it officially debuts here in December, on December 22nd. So you're gonna get to see all your favorite characters and dance with them and stuff like that. So Timon from the Lion Guard, not the Lion King apparently anymore. We're only going with preschool Lion Guard. We've got Mickey from Mickey and the Roadster Racers, and there's Vampirina and Doc McStuffins. So they're all going to be taking part in this. So definitely want to make sure you go there. Speaking of the same characters, just about, you can head over to Hollywood and Vine, which is a character meal with the Disney Junior characters in the morning, but only the morning. So you're not going to be able to see them at lunch or at dinner. But I think that's going to be a good choice for you as well. And I think that there's just a ton of stuff, like you said, Jedi Training at Hollywood Studios. I think that's going to be the best park for them as far as the 3-year-old goes. Now, obviously, besides the Magic Kingdom, of course, because there's obviously a ton there too.
So she's also mentioning how it's going to be her first Run Disney weekend. She's running the 10K, which, as I recall, on Star Wars, the 10K is on
in early April this year.
Yes, but I think it's on a Saturday. I'm trying to think of the day of the week the 10K is. I think it's Saturday Sunday. Either way, you're going to be fine because the 10K doesn't take up your whole day.
No.
assuming other people will be with you, so the your boy doesn't have to be out there at 5:30 in the morning watching the race. That's not super exciting. I mean, it's exciting for you. It's probably, the thing is, it's a huge time investment for spectators. I mean, it's probably really exciting for your son to see you run by, but to do that, he's going to have to watch 20,000 other people run by.
Right.
So that's kind of tough for a 3-year-old and even a 35-year-old attention. I feel bad for everybody that waits for me because it takes me forever to get there. And so I understand, like, it's a big time commitment, but I would say this is totally a great idea to combine the two. Other things, we're saying Crystal Palace at the Magic Kingdom.
Yes, I think that's a great choice too.
Yeah, because I mean, you can see the castle right outside your dining location.
And you got Winnie the Pooh and Tigger and Piglet and Eeyore. Yeah.
Lots of fun. And I would say absolutely get a birthday button, because magic will be made by the cast members, other guests. Hey, Pirates League too. Maybe if you want to splurge, it's not as expensive as Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. Get them dressed up like a pirate.
That's true. I like that idea.
All right, let's go to the next question. It's from Michael. It says last minute DHS parking question. Hey, Mike, first of all, I really enjoy listening to the show. My family and I are heading to Walt Disney World next Thursday and have a question about the parking situation at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Yesterday, I saw a picture that somebody posted on Twitter of the new parking lot. Is that not gigantic?
It is huge. Oh my gosh. It's going to double the parking at Hollywood Studios. And also, I'm really scared now, because when you think about it, that whole sucker is going to be filled. Yes. And where are they going to go? I mean, I know that they're adding, 14 acres with Star Wars Land, but seriously, it's not like they're doubling the size of the park. Like, the park isn't getting that much bigger. Where are they all going to go? I'm so scared. So scared.
I was thinking you could park Busch Stadium, you could park Kaufman, you could park.
Oh my gosh!
You could park like all of the state of Missouri in that lot, probably.
It's crazy how much parking there's going to be, and you ain't getting in the park, but it's crazy how much parking there's going to be there.
Car will have a slot for $20,000. You'll have a parking spot. Now you might not get into Galaxy's Edge, but you have somewhere to put your car.
You will have a parking spot. Yeah, you can pay the $25 for parking now.
They are staying at Old Key West and have decided to rent a car for this trip. Great idea when you're at Old Key West. Good to have a car. Yes. We are planning to drive to all the parks rather than take buses, and wanted to know what the parking situation would be at Disney's Hollywood Studios. I've heard about guests complaining about the long walk from the relocated bus stop to the park entrance, but wanted to know if anything has changed with the parking lot. Are trams still picking guests up and shuttling them right to the front entrance? We would rather still drive to the park rather than take a bus, but wasn't sure if taking the bus would be a better option given all the construction. Thanks for your help. Michael's down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So what do you know, Ricky, as far as parking right now, like as it stands like this week?
Yeah, and unfortunately I will be there next week, so I would be able to tell you. I think that the buses are the only thing that are impacted by the it's the Skyway. That's what's causing the issue. So the Skyliner is the problem there at the moment. But I think that the parking for the tram drop-off area and pickup area is still the same. So I think if you're driving, you're going to be just fine. And I would probably suggest driving if I were you, because it will drop you off a lot closer.
I would drive too. I think it'd be fine because the trams are going to run, because they don't want guests walking that far. I mean, they're going to.
Well, yeah, the trams are definitely running, but I don't think that they moved the tram location, because right now they moved the bus location down like way far away. So I don't think that they moved the tram location though. So I think you're fine.
Check it out. Stephanie's in the chat. She works at Hollywood Studios and says bus parking still a little bit of a hike, but the trams are still running. So there you go.
Yes. So you're good. Yes.
Oh, we got a cast member from Hollywood Studios working for you right there.
That's right. Exactly. I love it.
All right, next question is, what is the barf factor? Here we go.
Oh no, probably high.
Apologies if you're for our podcast or for
exactly.
Apologies if you're eating breakfast right now. Hi, Mike, Ricky, and Pam. I am planning a trip for my sisters and me in May. There'll be 4 of us, and this will be our first time at Disney World for 2 of them. The problem I'm running into is 3 of us love the big rides, but my oldest sister gets terrible motion sickness. I've studied up on this, tested them myself, and have found there are some good remedies like ginger gum, wristbands, non-drowsy ginger Dramamine, etc. Even with those items, I don't think I would take her on rides like Rock and Roller Coaster, Space Mountain, Flight of Passage, or Expedition Everest. I, however, don't want her to miss out on some of the other wonderful experiences. My question for you all is, I am not sure about some of the other rides that may or may not bother someone who is prone to motion sickness. Could you give me your opinion? A barf factor for the following 6 attractions. Here's the scale she gives us. 1 is no motion sickness at all.
Okay.
5 is you will immediately lose your lunch upon exiting the ride. Okay, so
Okay.
1 to 5. 5 is the worst. Thank you for all you do. You make me smile every time I tune into your podcast. All the best. Teresa's in Ann Arbor, Michigan. So thanks for listening up in the mitten. We appreciate that. All right, here we go. 1 to 5.
Okay.
Same goes Mine Train.
Okay, so I have to caveat this. I don't get very motion sick on any attraction. The only one I get motion sick on is Tower of Terror, which is why I won't ride Tower of Terror. That's well, and I choose not to ride Mission Space Orange because I've done it and I didn't enjoy the sensation necessarily, even though I know what it's like. I know it's the spinning type thing. So I choose to not ride the orange and go for the green. But it's hard because like roller coasters, I literally have zero problem with. So you know,
give it a number 1 to 5.
The swaying, yeah, I'm gonna go with like maybe a 2, 3, so we're on there.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 2. I don't think you got the swaying a little bit, but it's not much.
The swaying is not much. It really, like, I try to get it to sway. Like, that tells you how much motion sickness I don't have. Like, I try to make that sucker go back and forth.
Okay, so Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, I'm going 3. I think it's a little bit more intense than Seven Dwarfs. It's got a little more motion, a little more drops.
Yeah, 3 is, yeah, okay.
Test Track, I'm giving it a 2.
Oh, yeah. No, Test Track is like a 2. Yeah, I mean, it's just going fast, but it's not like spinning or circling. It's literally like driving down the highway. So
depends how good your driver is. Next, Soarin.
Oh, I have no problems with Soarin. I'm gonna go with 1. I have no problem. Like the screen doesn't bother me.
It doesn't bother me at all either. 1, but I'd try to sit in the middle if you can, because I think if you're on the very outside and you get some that warp factor could mess with your equilibrium. But
yeah. And I would say the same goes. I know she was worried about Flight of Passage, but I would say the same goes for Flight of Passage because it's very similar technology. And if you could sit in the middle, I think that you'll be okay on that too.
Flight of Passage. I mean, she said they're not going to do that. That's a 4.5.
I know, but I don't think it is. I think it's fine, but that's just me.
Lost my cookies.
But then again, you have like Star Tours you have a problem with, so
I can't get on that either.
Yeah.
All right, so Tower of Terror. Give it a number.
Oh yeah, that's a 5 for me. That's definitely a 5.
For me, it's a 4. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't put her on that. No, I wouldn't do that.
No, do not put her on Tower of Terror. Absolutely, 100% don't do that one.
And the last one, Dinosaur. 4, I'm going to say, because that's got a lot of jerky motion.
That has a lot of jerk. Yeah. I mean, I closed my eyes through the whole thing, so I mean, it's 5 for me because it's terrifying. But as far as motion goes, I mean, yeah, probably like a 3 or a 4, 5. Yeah.
All right, let's get to a question from Bob in the chat. We love our chatters. Says, any chance they'll bring back the park-to-park buses? The ones that skip security. They cost little and they were awesome. I guess they weren't popular enough, right, Ricky? I mean, because they were a revenue source, weren't a big enough revenue source.
Probably not. Since they introduced the minivans, I'm going to say that it's probably very slim that they are going to bring back the park-to-park buses. So,
agreed.
Yeah,
they were awesome though.
They were.
That's what they do during all the media events, and that's sweet to get behind the security.
I'm Mike. I get to go to media events. Blah blah blah.
Copy that. That is like the greatest thing because you can get so much done when you can park to park. Anyway, Ashley's got the next question. Help! Date night drinks with hubby. Excited to write about my upcoming trip. My husband and I are taking our 2 little ones. They're 4 and 1, and my parents to Disney on November 4th. So soon. We're staying offsite at the Wyndham Bonnet Creek in a 2-bedroom suite. My parents have graciously offered to watch the kids in the evening so my husband and I can sneak off for some quality alone time. Man, you're lucky. We're aiming for 2 after bedtime late nights. My plan was Trader Sam's at the Polynesian and jelly rolls on the boardwalk, but am I forgetting something awesome? We love all of your opinions. Ashley's on Long Island. All right. Man, I love the idea of what you got already because Trader Sam's.
Yeah, right?
It's really good drinks, great atmosphere. It's just like it's funny. Like after a couple drinks, somebody will start sinking on their stool. That just I don't know. Like I'm so stupid. That just cracks me. Just thinking about it right now. I'm about to die laughing. Because you're just like, you're like, have I had too much to drink, or like, is that guy sinking down right now? Like, you don't know.
And if you're the one that's sinking, you're like, why am I getting smaller?
Oh, you're
Yeah.
like, why is the table getting taller? That's exactly.
Yes.
You're like,
Yes.
this table's like going up.
Mom, we should totally go to Trader Sam's when we go down for Christmas this year because we have not been. I think you guys would have fun.
Oh my gosh.
I'm throwing it out there now because she's here in chat. So yeah.
What about, I love jelly rolls because there's nothing like a good piano bar in the atmosphere. Now you got to go on a night where it's kind of busy. Like those places, I know like the whole goal that we have on the podcast is trying to get you out of the crowds and, you know, like being very, very efficient. But there are situations where crowds equal better experience. And jelly rolls is one of those. To a point, you don't want it so crowded that it's nuts. But I mean, you want it to be full and full of energy. I love jelly rolls. You combine jelly rolls, maybe kick it off with something at Abracadabra or over at the Ale and Compass. They have some good drinks over there. We had some over Star Wars weekend in April with the Foresters. So maybe it was Marathon weekend. No, it was this past summer. Whatever. We had some nice drinks.
It was one of those weekends.
Yeah, it was. So anything we're missing there?
I was thinking, you know, I'm assuming that they're probably asking about outside of the parks. So I was going to say maybe go over to see Bob. That might be an option. But I think what they have planned is actually probably pretty good. So, but that was just, oh, I do like the stroll around Epcot and Boardwalk. So I think that's good from Stephanie there.
That's it. So, and you got Spice Road Table. Is that, that's not drinks though. Tiffany?
No. Yeah, that would be in the parks. Yeah.
All right, let's get a question from Alfred. He says, is the Magic Kingdom planning anything special for Mickey's 90th birthday? He only turned 90 once. What are they doing?
Right. Cupcakes.
You got that for 87, 88, 89.
Exactly. Really, hold on. I'm double checking. Now, I know that they are having a special on ABC. So if you are, I think that's on November 4th. So that might be something to catch if you're not in the parks, which is kind of cool. So set your DVRs for that. But let's see here. There's going to be special merchandise, food and beverage items. So yes, a cupcake. Happy birthday during with the Dapper Dans, celebrating at the Move It, Shake It, Dance and Play It street party. A special birthday dance party at Rocket Tower Plaza stage in Tomorrowland. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So like I said, special cupcake. That's pretty much what it is. So enjoy your cupcake.
Just what Mickey, you know what? There's a weather guy here in St. Louis named Ken Earhart, and he's kind of they joke with him because he's like been on TV forever. He's older, and he does this morning kind of variety show with two younger folks from the station, and he's in a band, and the name of his band is the now I gotta get it right, the Broken Hipsters.
Nice. I like it.
You know, Mickey's turning 90, but I mean that's probably what he wants is a dance party so he can break his hip. I can't get around very well at 90, I'm just saying.
Yeah, lots of merch. I think it's lots of merch and lots of cupcakes. That's pretty much what you're going to get.
Hey, yeah. Sounds good to me. I could use cupcake right now. All right, next question. Which resort to tour? It's from Sarah. Hello, all. My 24-year-old daughter and I will be going to Walt Disney World for the second time in May of 2019. We'll have a couple of free hours one day and want to tour a resort and possibly eat there. We're staying at Pop Century. Which do you recommend? We're having a hard time deciding. Thanks for all you do, Sarah. Okay, I got mine in my head. I'll let you go first.
Wait, she didn't give us like a list or anything? We actually have to come up with it on our own?
A couple free hours. They want to tour a resort and maybe have a meal there while they're there. They're staying at Pop. So where
I'm going with the Poly.
That's mine. That was gonna be mine too.
Yeah. I mean, or Wilderness Lodge, because that's gorgeous. Or Animal Kingdom Lodge. Oh, how do we not think of Animal Kingdom Lodge? Skip everything we just said. Animal Kingdom Lodge. Go to Animal Kingdom Lodge. That's the better option. I think that because you got the animals there, and you got Sanaa or Boma. Yeah, I think that's gonna be a good choice.
All right. Yeah, I agree. Those are all good ones. And mine was gonna be Polynesian or Wilderness Lodge. So there you go. We're on the same wavelength because you got great atmosphere and really, really good options to eat. Both.
Yes.
All right, Frank's got the next question. Josh Heupel and Disney Resorts room requests, which if you don't know, Josh Heupel was the Mizzou offensive coordinator, now the head coach of University of Central Florida, and they are still undefeated. They're not the national champions, though. Get over that. Alabama was. Anyway, feel free to see here. He says, feel free to paraphrase. His question is, I've been going to Walt Disney World since the 80s when I first just took the room I was given. Years ago, I realized if I didn't like the room, I could talk to the front desk and many times get a room I was happier with. One reason I do this is I'm an extremely light sleeper. I now call Disney reservations a few days before my visit and make room requests, understanding I may not get what I want. I've also I've done the early check-in and made the requests which are allowed. Okay, if you do the online check-in, you guys have probably seen you get very, very general things to pick from.
Yeah.
You can't like say I need, this building. You say like I, want a top floor, first available kind of stuff like that. He says, what I found over dozens of stays at various resorts is many times the room is nowhere similar to what I requested. I've had that happen to me many times too. If I request an upper floor, no connecting door away from an elevator in ranchos, I get first floor connecting door next to the elevators in casitas. Usually, is that a game they're playing? Like, okay, let's be honest. Usually I go to the front desk and see if something else is available and usually get things worked out. Sidebar, perhaps worst room at any Disney resort is the last room at the parking lot end of building 8A at Coronado Springs. I could hear the giant air conditioner compressors all night and could hear ding, ding of the elevator since we were next to the elevator. Perhaps you guys should do a show on worst rooms at Disney sometime. That'd be a good, well, think about that. It's kind of fun. That'd be tough. We'll have to research.
That would be tough because that would involve staying at every single room. I think we could probably be okay with that.
Maybe crowdsource that though. Like,
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay, he says, so how closely do the room assigners or whomever is in charge of this look at the room requests on your reservation? Do they try to get you one, maybe two of your requests? I appreciate the effort. Disney cast members will work with me on room requests, but I'm just wondering why so often the room received is nowhere close to what's requested. Thanks. All right, so let me just give my feedback on this from somebody who I call in room requests daily for guests. And of course, the biggest thing is that in every time I call one in, I always kind of not cut them off, but I tell them, I know this is not guaranteed. It's just a request because that's what it is. You can't be guaranteed what you ask for, but Disney really, I truly think in my heart, again, I'm a Disney fan, that they do try to get you as close to that request as possible. However, I will say my last 3 reservations personally that I've had for like Star Wars this summer on a split stay, I've had the same thing Frank had. Nowhere near what I asked for. I'm like, come on now. Like I called this in. Like I was, very nice. And I asked for, not that you think it wasn't like there was one room, it was like a building, there's hundreds of rooms to pick from. And I didn't get it. But the thing was, what I found out is if it's best to put it on there. But if you don't get what you're looking for initially at check-in, if it's like the opposite of what you're thinking, just go to the front desk. And all 3 of those times, I was able to get exactly what I was looking for when I spoke to a cast member at the check-in desk. They just changed my room up. What I'm thinking is that the room assigners are probably rushed and they're probably very busy and they got to dig a little deeper into the reservation to pull down the notes. And I believe cast members have told me the notes for the room assignments are not on the initial like front page. You got to kind of click a tab to look for like extra comments or so forth. I don't know what their systems look like from their end, at the check-in desk or the room assigner position. But I've heard that they have to intentionally look for the room requests. So I think some people just don't. And that's a shame. But I mean, who hasn't tried to rush through their jobs sometimes just to get it done because of the pressures of all the things you have to get done. So what do you think, Rikki?
That sounds very fair, actually, to be honest. Now, of course, you have to remember Disney can't honor every request in the sense like if it goes against say the type of room that you're booked or something like that, they won't just miraculously put you in a water view room if you've booked a garden view room, that kind of thing. So that's something to keep in mind when you are making requests. But if you're just make your request simple, I think that you have kind of an easier shot at getting what you're looking for. Now, again, not all the time, because like you said, Mike, you're just requesting a building, but I think the simpler you can make your request, the better chance you have of them being honored. And like you said, if for some reason, I believe you're probably right, it's probably in a separate section of the notes and they probably just don't see it. But if for some reason they don't, you don't get the room that you're requesting, then just go down to the front desk and they'll be happy to try to assist you.
Yep.
Because it's better to have a person, in front of you.
100%. And if you're polite, remember, honey goes a lot further than, vinegar.
Yeah. Yes. Do not go there with an attitude of going, well, I requested this room. And
to a pop-up tent site over at Fort Wilderness. Be careful. I'll send you
yes.
bed. Scott says he's had great success through the Touring Plans Request app, and if you have a premium subscription, use it. I've heard the exact same thing. Guests say, "Man, that thing, I got the exact room I was looking for." So,
Yeah,
I mean, hey, you're paying for it, use it. If you got it,
that's right.
great value. Sponsor. We are heading down. This is from Ryan in the chat. He says, we're heading down this Saturday, and going to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party this Sunday. Any must-dos at the party? So we got fireworks, we got the parade, and trick-or-treating. Anything else? Like, those are my three biggies. You like the stuff, right?
I like the Hocus Pocus stuff, yes, because I'm a huge fan of Hocus Pocus. By the way, in case anybody missed it, there was a great special that was on Freeform about Hocus Pocus this past weekend. So if you missed it, go try to find it because it was fantastic. And then let's see, if you are into characters, obviously it's the best chance to meet some of the rarer characters, but do know that you will be waiting in very, 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 very long lines. So don't expect to wait, 10 minutes to see, Jack and Sally. It's not going to happen.
And the old Marina's there, right, too?
I think she's at so they have a new dance party now, of course, in the back in Storybook Circus, where the old Fast Pass kiosk used to be, that empty area. Now that's literally nothing at this point. So yeah, they are actually, I think they're back there. So Vampirina, and I think it's Timon from the Lion Guard again, not the Lion King, because they're different.
That old
Timon. Exactly.
Jason has the next question. He says, what to choose? Hey, BOGP crew. I'm currently planning an August of 2019 trip to Walt Disney World for myself, my girlfriend, and two boys. That'll be 5 and 3 at the time. It's going to be a good one. It'll be my girlfriend and I's second trip and our boys' first time. Since we live in a land far away from the park, I wanted to have pictures taken that would provide great souvenirs. And at first, I immediately thought about the Memory Maker. And then I heard about Disney Fine Art Photography, a photographer service. I'm wondering if you guys could enlighten me on what you would choose or the ups and downs of each services. I hope my English in question is good enough to get on your podcast. Thanks a lot. Jason's up in Val d'Or, Quebec, Canada. And Jason, yours is awesome. Mine is the English that's always pitiful. So, and he says he's 2,699 kilometers from Walt Disney World. Yep, that's a long drive, he says. All right, so I think we all kind of know Memory Maker. I would definitely have that because you're going to want the on-ride videos. You're going to want to get lots of pictures in the parks, in front of the park icons. There's other opportunities. It's just kind of a no-brainer at this point, especially because you're wanting to capture memories. And I think Memory Maker does a great, great job of that. But Ricky, what about that, that service where we haven't thought about it in a while, but like you could go to the beach at the Polynesian and get family pictures like everybody's like in linen whites and stuff, and like really... You're the senior picture person and you're the photography person. What about that?
Yeah. So actually, if you go to Disney Fine Art Photography, for those who don't know, Disney actually does real photo sessions like you would have done around town at home. They do family portraits, they do senior portraits, they do quinceañeras, they do engagements, they do honeymoon anniversary pictures. So basically you just need to go to each one has a gallery and a portrait package, so you can kind of see what they offer, as well as what the pricing is there. And I'm trying to see here kind of what the pricing is. This is also where they do the weddings as well. So they have a couple of different session types. So there's a mini portrait session, which is 225 plus tax. There's the mini Magic Kingdom portrait session, which is 249. And then there is the enhanced portrait session, which is $499, which, it's not terrible considering I came from the photography world. So really that's about average when you think about it. I know it sounds a lot of money, but for someone who came from that world, that's really about average. So yeah. So anyway, so they do all different kinds of photography. Consider maybe doing this if it's something that you're interested in. If you're interested in doing something that's a little more enhanced, a little more special, that kind of thing. If you were thinking about maybe doing like a family portrait at home, like where you actually go out and, like you said, dress similarly and, that kind of thing. If you're looking for that type of session, this is where I think that's going to be handy. If you're just looking for, theme park shots, that kind of thing, that, are kind of more traditional in a way, then Memory Maker is going to be the better option for you.
Are they going to require them to be barefoot and in linen clothes, all white, the whole family, if they do?
I don't know about that, but a lot of them are in white, and yeah, so I'm just saying, yeah,
I ask the important questions. I'm just saying.
you do. I mean, not everybody's in linen white, so,
You're
but a lot are.
you're Canadian. Just do your thing. Get a hockey stick. That'd be awesome. I love.
But they have a photo gallery that you can kind of see kind of what they do as well. So if you're kind of thinking about it, you can take a look at what they offer and see if it's right for you.
All right, let's head to the next question. Rope drop advice needed. It's from Eric. Hey, BOG crew, love your podcast. I need your help for a family of 4 with 8 and 5-year-old girls going to Disney World the week after Thanksgiving. We'd like to get your advice on how early to arrive at 3 different parks for rope drop so we can maximize the early morning opening hours. Number 1, Epcot. Our plan is to go to Soarin first since we have Fast Pass Plus for Frozen Ever After later in the day. I like that idea. So
yes,
the week after Thanksgiving, if you're immediately like Thanksgiving's on Thursday and you're there that weekend of like it's going to be busy over the holiday when the kids are out of school and everybody's off for the break. I would get to Epcot at least 30 minutes prior to. I'd be at the touch points 30 minutes prior to opening and go straight to Soarin'. I bet you'll be off the ride within 30 minutes. You'll have gone through the line, ridden the ride, and you'll be off within 30 minutes. And then you got Fast Pass for Frozen later in the day. If you want to ride Test Track, go immediately over there then. What do you say?
yes, that's exactly what I would say. 100%.
Right. Second, Hollywood Studios. Our plan is to go to Slinky Dog Dash first and then try to do Alien Swirling Saucers right after. We have Fast Pass Plus for Toy Story Mania later in the day. I like that idea.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to get there super early because they do
45 minutes early. Yeah.
Oh, I think I've heard that they let people in about that early sometimes. So you may want to get there a little earlier than that.
And the thing about Alien Swirling Saucers is like I don't necessarily think you need to do that second because I think you might be able to catch that one later in the day with a shorter line because it's a crowd eater. Like it goes through. There's a lot of carts. I mean, it's not.
But it does have. It's not like a continuous loader though. Yeah, it does have a stop and go. So I would hit up Alien Swirling Saucer second. Also, I said to get there even earlier. Just make sure it's not a morning when they have the early morning magic hours, either extra magic hours or the special early morning magic hours that are specifically for Toy Story Land. Because if they have that, then you're not getting a Toy Story Land either way. Early. So
good. That's a good idea. All right. The third one is for Eric is Animal Kingdom. Our plan is to go to Pandora first and do Na'vi River journey or Flight of Passage right away. We have a Fast Pass Plus for Flight of Passage later in the day. We'd like to do Flight of Passage twice if possible. So thinking of doing that ride first thing and then getting in line for Na'vi River journey, but don't want to waste a lot of time waiting in lines in Pandora as it is our only day in Animal Kingdom. We're open to staying until park closed to maybe get in line for Pandora right before the park closes in hopes that the line is not horribly long. Thanks. Eric's up in Milwaukee. And I got to give him a shout out to his Brewers. They had a really good season. They played well. You guys hung tough and thought I was rooting for you to win the series this year once the Cardinals bowed out. So you got lots of former Royals. All right. So that one, you're going to want to get there almost an hour early if you want to try to get to Flight of Passages like one of the first, say, 1,000 on the ride where you're in and out in probably the first 30 minutes, right?
Yeah. Definitely. Although I have heard that there has been no wait basically for Na'vi River Journey if you do that first. But since they want to try to do Flight of Passage twice, then I would absolutely say go with the crowd. Go to Flight of Passage first thing.
And Allison is in the chat and she's helping us out. She says she got into the park recently at 8:50 and it was an 80-minute wait for Slinky Dog Dash.
See, I told you. You got to get there really early. Again, I think it's one of those where you got to get there about an hour early and they are letting people in, about 45 minutes ahead of time. So.
And Cheryl's also chiming in, says Animal Kingdom at least an hour before park open if you want to ride Flight of Passage without a fast pass. We rode it twice that way. Follow the cast member to Pandora at Rope Drop. So stalk the cast member.
There you go.
All right, let's get to the next question. And it is from, let's see, Matthew. Hey, Mike, Pam, and Ricky. Thanks for putting on a great show. I'm heading to Animal Kingdom Lodge in January for a 40th birthday, recovery from surgery, running vacation, all that in one. My wife and I'll be joined about halfway through by one of our friends. And I have a question about booking fast passes for her. She's on the room reservation, but since she's only there half the time and joining late, Am I going to have trouble booking uh, for her fast passes? Will I have to book fake ones for the days she's not with us? Will the new ticketing system trip us up? Sorry about the multi-level question. Feel free to answer with a simple no, you're fine. Thanks, Matt. He's 1,310 miles from the Magic and doesn't say where he's from, but that's okay. Just a long way from the Magic Kingdom. So so everybody's on the reservation, and it just depends on the ticketing, to be honest. Like if she has enough days that'll cover on her tickets the stay, then you can just schedule the fast passes for when she's there. Do not schedule fast passes for when she's not there, like the fake ones. I wouldn't do that, because what you're doing is you're cutting availability for somebody else that wants to use them.
Right. And it doesn't, like you said, it wouldn't matter if you're all on the same reservation, because the fast passes are not tied, despite minus making them, they're not tied to the actual room. So, if somebody wants to ride and somebody doesn't want to ride, you don't have to make the same fast pass for the same ride. They can make a fast pass for a different ride too. So in this case, since she's not going to be there, I mean, you don't have to make a fast pass for her just because she's in the room. So you are all good.
All right. Last question of the day comes from the chat. It's from Helena Knight Cag. And she says, would you rather do a lunch reservation or a dinner reservation at Sanaa? The dinner reservation would be when it's already dark out, so I'm worried the kids wouldn't see anything. You know what? That's why I say lunch is going to be slightly cheaper. The menu is still good, especially if you're focused on the bread service. They offer that at lunch. And really, I mean, the restaurant's beautiful at night. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's very nice looking. It's something that your kids would enjoy seeing. But I mean, really, the point of Animal Kingdom Lodge as a whole is to see live animals up close. We've had lunch there. We did that this summer. We were just kind of hungry. We went over and had some bread services and some Cokes and like a split a burger with the gardeners and so forth. And the thing was, like, it was light outside, and like, I mean, the birds and all kinds of, there was a zebra right outside the window. That's why you're there. I would do lunch.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Lunch, I think, is going to be the way to see the animals, because you really aren't going to see much if it's dark outside. I've eaten there when it's dark, and you can't see anything really. But make sure you ask for a table by the window, because there are not that many tables by the window. So if that's something that you're looking to do, make sure you do that, because I've never been sat by the window. Granted, I've never asked either, so but it's been dark when I've gone, so there was no need to ask for a window seat at that point. But yeah, make sure you ask for that window.
Real quick, you got 10 seconds. Scott wants to see what that purple plush is over your shoulder, which I believe, knowing you, would be Figment.
This?
Correct. That's Figment.
This is Figment.
Kind of like a tired Figment. There he is. Yes, he's a Figment of your imagination.
It is Figment. Yeah. My mom got this for me because she threw away my old Figment. So when we went with my grandma a couple years ago on that trip, she actually bought me my very own Figment. So I have one now. So she made up for it.
Is at the heart of all.
Because his nose is up a little bit. He's all right. He's looking up.
Yeah, it's kind of a short-nosed Figment. Anyway, all right, well, that's going to do it for today's listener question show. Thank you to our chat room. You guys were awesome. Great questions, great answers, great feedback. We love having folks join us live in the chat. Again, it's Mondays, usually around 5:30 Eastern, so drop onto the Facebook page. You'll get a notification. Hop in and just join us when you can. We love that so much. And thanks for tuning into the podcast, wherever you're listening, whenever you're listening. We love that so much. Today's show, of course, is brought to you by our friends over at virtualmickey.com. Home of great iPhone apps like Theme Park News Disney Edition. It's free. It makes your Apple device more awesome. So, Ricky, what are we reading about instead of the cereal box at breakfast tomorrow with Theme Park News Disney Edition?
We are reading about the fact that Disney has officially announced a brand new resort. What? Yes. Okay. So
it is. Resort. How's that? That's pretty sweet.
It is the new Disney Vacation Club property that's going to be built on Bay Lake between Disney's Wilderness Lodge and Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort. This is going to be a deluxe resort that will be themed to complement its natural surroundings. If you think that natural surroundings look like, Howard Johnson or something like that, because this hotel does not look very fancy. I mean, it doesn't really, I don't think it really fits in with the natural surroundings. Let's just be honest. I think, it could be a little more woodsy looking, but that's just me. It feels like a Holiday Inn or something, but again, that's just me. Again, what are you doing with your hotels? They have nothing spectacular besides they're pretty. But anyway, I digress. So it's going to include more than 900 hotel rooms and a proposed Disney the proposed Disney Vacation Club villas spread across a variety of unique accommodation types. I suspect that means, studios and 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms and that kind of thing. The soon to be named resort is slated to be Disney's 16th Disney Vacation Club property. So
it's pretty awesome. I'm excited. I love new resorts, especially one in the Magic Kingdom area.
I mean, I do like that it's going to be a new resort, and I do like that it's going to be in the Magic Kingdom resort area. I do wish that it fit the theme of nature a little bit better when you've got 2 fantastic nature resorts right next to it. Like, seriously, you could, make it a little
I think it will.
woodsy looking.
It's going to look sweet. I mean, come on. They're good at hotels. That's one thing Disney is great at. It's going to look awesome.
Yes, but we had the discussion last week of the fact that they're just making them look fancy now instead of themed, and that's my problem. So this is another one of those resorts that looks fancy and not necessarily themed, but I guess we'll find out. So
we will. I think it'll be awesome. I'm
I'm excited about a new resort. Let's put it that way. But
it's going to have that gives us more dining options and.
That's true. Hopefully. I mean, I guess we'll find out. I assume that there would be a restaurant in there and stuff like that, at least one. So that'd be nice.
All right. Well, hey, get this kind of news over at Theme Park News Disney Edition. Pick up these great apps at virtualmickey.com. Give us a follow on social media. We're on Instagram and Twitter at Be Our Guest Pod and at Be Our Guest Mike. And of course, we got a great Facebook page where you can join us live. You can see these videos on facebook.com/Be Our Guest Podcast. You can also check them out on YouTube. After the fact, over at youtube.com/Be Our Guest Podcast. We're everywhere. I love telling Mallory I'm a YouTuber. I'm like, your dad's a YouTuber.
I know, it's awesome. My nephew freaks out when he hears the fact that I'm a YouTuber. He's like, no way. I'm like, yeah.
Mallory tells me you're not a YouTuber unless you got 1 million subscribers. I'm like, we're close. We got 3.
Well, let's get it. Come on, everybody. Let's come on. Share our page. Come join us.
Help Mallory's dad become slightly cooler.
Let's prove Mallory wrong.
All right. So thank you so much for sending the questions. Mike could be our guestpodcast.com. If you want one for a future show, we'd really appreciate that. Also, iTunes reviews. We don't ask for those very often, but they really do help support the show. So if you have a few minutes this week, drop by iTunes, give us a star rating and a review. We'd really, really appreciate that. So thank you so much for that. And again, Amazon supports the show, and it's a great way to support the show. When you make Amazon purchases, it's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. All right, time to get out of here, and we're going to be back on Friday with kind of an interesting take because Walt Disney World's a busy place. There's people everywhere. I mean, think of all the hotels, think of the theme parks. We just talked about how big the parking lot's going to be at the studios and how many people are going to be parking in that parking lot. But there are times and there are places at Walt Disney World that you can be totally by yourself, and it kind of freaks you out. It's kind of spooky. Halloween's coming up very shortly. So we're going to talk about places you can be totally alone at Walt Disney World. So join us on Friday for that, kicking off the weekend with a little spooky fun, getting ready for Halloween. So for Ricky and Pam, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Wednesday. Time to head back to work, and we'll see you real soon. That's a good one. Good question.
Yay. Lots of good questions, everybody.
Let me save that.
I like that Mandy agrees with me. Thank you, Mandy. That's very nice of you to agree with me.
Does that when I'm not the show? I'm like, oh, come on now, Mandy.
I like when I get to be right. It's fantastic.
Put it on the screen for you. All right, we're saving. So, folks in the chat, hang with us and give us your feedback, and we'll share it on the show. Where can you be totally by yourself at Walt Disney World? Either in the parks, resorts, anywhere on property that there's a bajillion people everywhere. But where have you found oh my gosh, I'm the only one around? Okay, because I got some ideas.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
One of them used to be Rafiki's Planet Watch, but nobody can go out there anymore.
There's animals there though. You're with the goats.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cheryl.
What are you doing? Why are you bang like a sheepy thing?
If you're looking for a Bama shaker, right there. Hold up, Stacy. We're not ready yet. Stacy with an E. That is a good one, though.
She's stealing my answer, by the way.
I'm gonna have to steal that one.
No, that's my answer.
Good answer, Steve. Good answer. It's like Family Feud. Good answer. Oh, dude, Cheryl just took.
I feel like everybody's stealing my answers. Stop it.
People. Hold up. We need your help. Let me just introduce the show, people. Time out. Hold up. Roll Tide.
Everybody's stealing my answers.
RTR. All right, here we go. This is $13.99. It's so exciting. So exciting. And we're on the precipice of great.
Gosh, we're almost at 1,500 when you think about it.
Oh my lord. That's who would have thought. Here we go. Welcome to episode 1399 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Friday to you on this weekend prior to Halloween. And Halloween's coming up on Wednesday. A lot of fun. We love dressing up and having a good, hey, we're Disney fans. We believe in the magic. And I think Halloween's kind of a fun celebration holiday for those of us that are, just 44-year-olds that are basically 6'3" kids. So, and I'm sure we got lots of folks out there that do the same. I've seen your Instagram and Twitter accounts, people. I know you dress up and you're a big kid too. So we're going to have a good time. Today's going to be kind of a fun show. If you're in the live chat with us, we're going to take your comments on this. And of course, over the weekend, this is one of those shows where you can chime in and help us all kind of put together a list to kind of think about Walt Disney World places at the resort, in the parks, at the hotels, other places just on property where you can feel totally isolated and alone, which is kind of bizarre because when you're there on the 4th of July or anytime really nowadays, it doesn't matter. You feel like half the planet is at Walt Disney World right along with you. There are times you're like, whoa, looking around, you're like, I'm the only person around. It's kind of weird. So we're going to talk about that today. So joining me for this fun conversation pre-Halloween here to kick off the weekend, we have Rikki from a DisneyWorldAfterAll.com, touringplans.com, and the old Mouse for Less. What's up, Rikki?
If y'all want to see some fun Disney stuff this weekend, follow along with me because I'm going to be down there. So we're going to, I'm saying the bad word. We're going to Universal for Halloween Horror Nights, but we'll also be doing some Disney stuff too. So, it's going to be a good little quick, good trip. So yeah, had to get down there though.
You said, and we had this conversation before we started recording because Halloween Horror Nights is really not my thing. Like I worked at a haunted house in St. Louis, Silo X. It used to be in Valley Park. Now it's a little bit further down 141, part of Creepy Town. And I loved it.
Yes.
Because, I'm telling you, if for somebody that worked in a haunted house, I only did it for like 3 weeks. Like when I was in high school with a bunch of buddies, because they put an ad in the paper and it was a quick way to get some money to go to Taco Bell or something or gas for the car.
Of course.
They paid cash every night. So the way it worked was like you were assigned like an area, and I was in this maze part of the haunted house. Like you went in when the lights were on. Okay. So like you spray painted stuff on the walls, like you'd be at spot 7. You couldn't go to 8. You had to stay between 6 and 8. So if you're 7. And so the thing was like you knew like where the walls were and stuff. It just like plywood. Because like before the house opened, they would just flood the place with fog, and it was kind of like it was supposed to be like a mutated military base theme, kind of, so you wore camouflage and a mask. And anyway, you couldn't see like this close in front of your face once because they everything in there was like green lights and fog. All you saw was just like a green glow when you went in. Well, of course, as an actor, you knew where everything was. The people coming through, not a clue. So, but the thing was, like, if you were smart, you could look really low. You could see people's feet, especially if they're wearing white sneakers or something like that. So you would hear them like, oh, there's going to be a guy up here. You go first. You go first. No, you go first. And so when you heard that, you're like, oh, dude, I'm lighting these people up because nobody went first. And the more you acted scared, the more you would get just blown out of the water when you came around the corner. That they didn't know the corner was there, but you did. So, Oh, man, I would laugh so hard sometimes when I scared these people. Oh, it would just hurt my side because it was so funny. And I was getting paid to scare the crud out of these people for like 5 hours. It was so much fun. But now, Halloween Horror Nights, you mentioned, I don't know if I would be on the opposite side of that equation now that I'm 44. The old ticker might not be able to take it. I don't know.
So for those who don't know, I'm actually a very big chicken. I'm probably the weirdest person ever because I don't go to Halloween Horror Nights for the houses. My brother and Brian, they go in the houses, and they like it's a great bonding thing for the two of them because they get to hang out with each other and do the houses together and stuff like that. So that's a great bonding thing. But I like to go experience the scare zones because I can keep my eye on the people usually for the most part in the scare zones. So like if I can keep my eyes on them, they don't scare me as much because they know that I'm watching them. So like every once in a while, they'll still try to jump at me, while they're walking in front of me or whatever. But like I'm still watching them, so it doesn't get me as bad. Every once in a while, they'll come up from behind me and scare me. But for the most part, I'm really okay. So it's just a lot of fun. I like the experience of being there. It's, even as a huge chicken, like I won't even be going into the Stranger Things house, like a huge chicken. I still get something out of Halloween Horror Nights. So I'm really excited to go. Plus all the food. I mean, all the food, the twisted taters. They have some waffles now this year because it is Stranger Things. I'm so excited about all the food. And like I said to Mike before we were recording, like you get to do the attractions because they're open and there's not very much wait. So I get to go into Diagon Alley and really just hang out with. Speaking of, places that are kind of creepy and alone, Diagon Alley during Halloween Horror Nights is one of those places because you actually have to go back in there to get in there and. There's nobody back there. It's the perfect time to go exploring for Harry Potter fans. So I like to go back there for that.
Good
Yeah.
tip. And a lot of
Yeah.
people saying that, now they've gotten a little bit older and, we're all getting there each and every day, unfortunately. Like, um, maybe the haunted house is kind of past, but because the thing is, like, I love giving the scares. Like, I post up in our house constantly. Like, my
Oh yeah.
my girls hate it because, like, if I go in first, they always think I'm going to be at the first spot. Nope, I'm like at the third corner of the house. Like, I'm always posting up and scaring people. I love it, and everybody that's been to Walt Disney World knows with me. I'll post up and get you good. So,
yeah, you do.
all right, real quick
Yeah.
before we get going with today's topic, shout out to Alfred. His birthday is Sunday, so 2 days you'll be another.
Yay!
Happy birthday, Alfred. And shout out to the Benfer family. They are tuned in at the Launch Bay at Hollywood Studios.
Long time no see, Benfer family. Yeah.
And say hello to the Jawas if they're there.
Yes. They're not there anymore.
Oh, Kylo or Chewie. Anyway, so
don't do
let's
that
get to
anymore.
today's topic. So we're talking about, kind of a spooky topic. We've done a lot of Halloween themed shows over the past 10 years, but this one's kind of interesting because it can work for Halloween or not. I mean, Walt Disney World's a very busy place. There's a lot going on. Of course, people are on top of you when you try to see fireworks or a parade. There's many, many times going to a headliner attraction that you just feel like, like I said, half the planet is at that park with you that day. However, there are times I've been at Walt Disney World and I'm like the only one around right now, which is really kind of an eerie feeling when you're in a place like Walt Disney World. It's so busy all the time. The first one, we're going to give a lot of folks. Ooh, Alfred's turning 45. Me too this year. Same age. So we're going to give some ideas from the chat room and also some things we came up with. The first thing when I thought of this topic, the place that I think I feel the most alone is when I get up for a very early pre-dawn run at Pop Century and I'm running around Hourglass Lake.
That is true.
I like, and you get in your mind's eye, if you're like me, especially this time of year, like what's the worst that could happen? Like I could fall down, nobody finds me, and I'm out here. And of course, there's going to be other runners that get up eventually as it gets later in the morning. But you have that kind of mist on Hourglass Lake and there's gators in there and stuff like that. You picture maybe a snake might crawl out and bite your ankle or something. I don't know. It's kind of
what is wrong with you?
It's Halloween. I don't know. Like when you're running, a lot of stuff goes through your mind when you're trying to run, 12 miles. You got a lot of time to think about stuff. And you got to.
That's why I don't run 12 miles anymore. Yeah.
Hourglass Lake is beautiful, but it's also slightly spooky when you're the only one out there and you've read all the signs. It was way spookier when Art of Animation wasn't there and you just ran on the back of Pop Century.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That wasn't even kind of scary. That was like a nightmare.
Tom Sawyer Island. So many people don't go out there, and Brian and I have learned to really love to go out to Tom Sawyer Island, especially when we're looking to get away from the hustle and the bustle. Now, you're not necessarily going to be alone, but you are going to have a very quiet time out there. There's a little spot. I wish they'd put my other rocking chair back, but there's a spot at one time there were 2 rocking chairs. Now now there's only 1. But there was a time when you could sit out there and just sit and relax and just be, and it was so peaceful and so quiet. There was nobody around. You'd have a couple people walking along the path every once in a while, but that's one of those places where it's just really, really quiet. Now, another place where you could get the bejeebus scared out of you is the caves that are in there, because
I was going to say, like, if you ever want to pretend like you had the job that I had in high school.
Yes, exactly.
You can totally post up in those caves and scare your friends, your family, or just a complete stranger. Just freak them out. Like, because there's so many
Yes.
like ledges and stuff. That's a great place to post up.
100%. So that's another place where I guess if you really wanted to be, alone, those are definitely a place where you can kind of be alone. But yeah, I just love Tom Sawyer Island. I think, especially like the later in the afternoon that it gets, the more people start leaving Tom Sawyer Island too, because obviously not a lot of people go over there, but because you have to take the boat, but or the raft, I guess I should say. But once you get over there, and as the afternoon starts to wane on, and people start leaving the island because they've done what they wanted to do there, and you're still there, it really does get kind of peaceful, serene, and quiet.
Let me ask you this: Tom Sawyer Island. Somebody offers you $10,000 if you successfully spend the night on Tom Sawyer Island without getting caught. Do you try?
Oh, do I try? Well, given that I don't like camping or anything along those lines, no, I'm gonna go with no.
I don't, because I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get like hauled out in handcuffs. But
Yeah, no,
Len, that was always like Len's fantasy. He always talked about it. And I'm like, that'd be kind of sweet. It'd be kind of spooky though. Like I'm
it would be.
freaked out. I'm just saying.
It'd be very spooky. But you get to see the castle, and it would be all lit up, and that would be very pretty. So
Yeah.
all night.
I
You get to see the
don't know.
castle.
It's kind of interesting. Cheryl says she would try it in the chat. All right. So another place that I came up with was the path. Again, these are all running paths. I think because really it's a great place. There's a path between Wilderness Lodge and Fort Wilderness that cuts through. I mean, it cuts through the world.
Yes.
You see deer, you see raccoon, early in the morning, but of course people will go between there, but it's a longer path. I'd say it's maybe a half a mile between the two. And that's a place where I've been many, many times, nobody around, and it's still pre-dawn. It's a little spooky. If you're kind of scared of like somebody popping out of the woods with like a chainsaw, like that'd be a place right there.
This is going from the where is nice and quiet and peaceful to the where do they have the poop scared out of
Mostly,
you.
most of the time it is quiet and peaceful. Like if you're there in July on a cool morning, or something. But I mean, if it was like next Wednesday, October 31st, like somebody pops out, oh, with the chainsaw, like get you, like boom, they get your heart going.
This is not the point of this podcast, by the way.
Well, it kind of is.
We changed topics apparently. So
It's a place where you could totally be alone. So where else, Ricky? What else popped in your mind?
So another place that popped in my mind, and I swear, chat, I'm not stealing these. These are legit the first things that popped in my head. Is to if you go, everybody just looks at Morocco and they are like, "Ooh, it's pretty," but they don't like explore Morocco. And Morocco has some fantastic winding pathways all the way through, and really, it's so quiet back there because nobody goes back there because they don't know that they can go back there. Again, you've got everybody rushing past you. The only people that are going back there are people who accidentally find this area or people who have reservations at Restaurant Marrakesh because that's where it is. So all the way in the back there. So yeah, I mean, it's just so wonderful. There's some great little alcoves that you can sit in and just relax and enjoy, some peace and quiet. And I think that it's really nice back there. So.
I shouldn't say this, but I will. I'm giving away my bathroom spot on New Year's Eve.
Oh,
Restaurant Marrakesh.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's a good
Yeah.
one.
That is a good one.
Let's see. Phil's in the chat. He says he does that same run from Copper Creek, quiet and lots of animals as the only company, and also the smell of bacon from the campground. Yes,
Nice.
that's why you run. You run so you can get.
Yes.
Glad to have Phil in the chat room. Good seeing you, Phil, buddy. It's good to have him here. Okay, so I'm just trying to picture all these now that we talked about because Mallory went to her first haunted house this past week, so all she talked about was like the chainsaw guy, and she's only chicken. I'm surprised she made it. So I'm just picturing we have some suggestions.
I have another good one too. Let me throw this in there. It kind of goes in with the whole Morocco thing. But really, if you go into any of the exhibits that are in World Showcase, like seriously, you could be some of the only people there. Part of me is thinking of like it's the Japan, the one oh my gosh, what is it? The Kauai cute exhibit that they have back there.
Yeah,
there's the Norway, the Stave Church. I mean, sometimes people actually come in there, but a lot of times it's like dead, especially now that they've gotten rid of the frozen stuff. I feel like less people go in there again. You've got what is another exhibit that's kind of back there that I was just thinking of. There's just a ton of those little exhibits back there. There's I think one in the China Pavilion as well for some stuff too. So all the exhibits that they have. Oh, American Adventure. That was the other one I was thinking of, because there's a little one off to the side that people don't often go into. So yeah, those exhibits and World Showcase are definitely a place where it kind of gets a little spooky. There's nobody
Remember when
there.
China had, because they don't have them on display right now, but they had the Terracotta
Mhm.
Warriors.
Yes.
If you were the only one in there with those Terracotta Warriors, and I know
Yeah, that was creepy.
that's spooky.
Yeah.
And one
They
of them
came to
popped out and
life.
started chainsaw. Whoa!
No, stop it. Stop
Somebody
it.
said, I can't find it in the chat. Where was it? That even Carousel of Progress sometimes can
Yes,
only
that's true.
that could freak you out. Like if you're the only one on Carousel of Progress, which does happen, like even during like
Yes.
Halloween parties, like people just don't go back there. And if it's running for some reason, if you could be in there and then all of a sudden the dad pops up in a chainsaw, whoa! And like,
No, stop with the chainsaw. Okay, all right, fine. You want to know another spooky path? Okay, since that's apparently what this show has turned into.
Chainsaw doesn't have a blade on it. It's just the motor. Like it's safe. It's just like a prop.
So I'm gonna go with that pathway from Storybook Circus to Tomorrowland, because a lot of now granted, now that it's become the smokers pathway, it's a little less magical, I guess I could say. But there's a little more people on that pathway is my point. But yes, that pathway has always been very, very, very kind of empty. So if you're looking for a great pathway to walk, that's a good
I
one.
agree. That's actually the one my wife gave as a suggestion when I told her what we're talking about. She said that the little path, back behind by Space Mountain. So there you go.
Oh, another pathway. Totally. Look, we're all just talking about pathways. Another pathway is that pathway from the Polynesian to the Grand Floridian. I think that's another really quiet pathway.
Yes. And Goofy pops out with a chainsaw. Whoa! You're going.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
I'm stuck with that today. Jennifer says the back of Canada. That is another
Yes.
the place you can totally be by yourself. You might not see a person for 20 minutes.
That's true. That is definitely true. Yes.
And the guy comes out with the hockey stick with the chainsaw. Whoa!
I'm gonna hit you the next time I see you.
I've had way too many Coke Zeros. Cheryl says the Toy Con and Garden back in Japan.
Oh, that is a good one. I like that one. Yeah. That's right. No chainsaws back there.
Let's see. What else do we have? Nancy down in Dallas. She gives a suggestion of the back by the Little Mermaid rooms. It's kind of spooky over animation. To me, it is, because you're right, because it's at the far end of art of animation. It's kind of, once you get beyond that, it gets a little isolated. The All-Stars kind of feel that way too if you have one of the last buildings. But to me, art of animation is just like, I still picture it as deserted second half of Pop Century. Like I got that in my mind's eye, and it's like, I don't know. It kind of freaks me out over there. Even when I'm running, I'm like, this used to be that scary looking place, even though it's not anymore.
No. So, all right, I'm gonna move on now.
Stop scaring. Wow, did you?
So, one park we haven't talked about is Animal Kingdom, and there are some really great paths that are at Animal Kingdom that have animals on them that they're not the Maharaja Jungle Trek or the Pangani, which also are often not very traversed by people, but they're the smaller exhibits, the ones with like the anteater or the flamingos or things like that a lot of people just don't kind of explore because they're trying to, again, it's the whole point of, well, let's head to the back of the park and get all the attractions done and ignore the fact that there's animals and things like that. I mean, we're all guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. You're guilty of it. Don't pretend like we aren't. But there are some great little pathways that are quiet and deserted, and some little areas where you can sit and relax and see the animals and just really not see a lot of people. I mean, and there are tons of those little pathways all around Animal Kingdom. Especially also by Flame Tree Barbecue, there's some great pathways. There's spots to sit out by Flame Tree where there's nobody. So if you're looking to have a meal by yourself, definitely look for the farthest place you can go at Flame Tree. You'll find a spot. But yeah, there's some really great places at Animal Kingdom if you just explore that you can find that are just quiet and peaceful.
And I was on the treadmill, I think a couple days ago, and the show on the SEC network, Marty and McGee, it's a show about the South basically, and they talk about SEC football a lot. Obviously, they're reporters. I was on the treadmill, so I was listening to a podcast, had the sound off on the TV, but I had this closed captioning on. I think
And then a chainsaw came out. Wah! I'm sorry.
too early on the chainsaw. But like LSU, LSU, the football team down in Louisiana, they have like the Tigers. They're not the real Tigers. We are at Mizzou, but they have a real live tiger at their football games. His name's Mike. I think either Mike's the furry guy or Mike's the real tiger. I can't remember. I think Mike. Anyway, because my name. But anyway, so I think they retire him out. They have like a huge on their campus, like a gigantic zoo exhibit where he lives. I mean, it's unbelievable. But I think when they retire, they said he's at Animal Kingdom, the park. I think, like maybe they retired to Florida like everybody else. I don't know, but I think maybe the old Mike's there. And it was Manny, by the way. It said Carousel Progress. So
there you go. That's awesome. Yeah.
Scott said best spot to feel isolated or alone, the patio down from the Yorkshire County Fish and Chips right by the water. Also the most physically close place to watch illuminations. Isn't it kind of weird that sometimes, like you mentioned the exhibits, even the Stave Church, like you're right in the middle of one of the most popular attractions at Walt Disney World and Frozen Ever After, yet you can feel isolated. And I think there's a few places like that where you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm like in proximity within 50 feet of like a million people, but I still feel miles from anybody else.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely. 100%. So.
And then a fish jumps out with a chainsaw. While you're watching illuminations. Let's see.
There's something wrong with you.
Andy's got another one at a resort. The courtyards at French Quarter. Yes, they. Is there something? Is it just me? Because I love some jazz music, but does jazz music double as like scary, spooky sometimes? Because think about the Tower of Terror background loop.
That is true.
Yes,
Tower of Terror background loop is really kind of spooky. Not gonna lie, I love that background loop though. It's awesome. And then a chainsaw runs
like some they have those like a Joker looking guy with a crazy looking Mardi Gras mask jumps out the chainsaw. He's chasing you all the way. You're running through building one. You're running, you're almost to Riverside. You're like, I'm gonna outrun him. But then when you get to Riverside, the horse and carriage comes at you with a chainsaw. And you're running back.
It's the Headless Horseman. He's here for you.
You're running all along the Sassagoula River. You don't know which way to run. Do you run to French Quarter? Do you run to Riverside? Do you just keep going all the way to swim over to Old Key West? I don't know. What do you do?
Oh my gosh.
So that's kind of fun.
There's something wrong with you.
Today. So that's a hot take, is what that is.
Yes.
Cheryl has another good one in the chat. The People Mover, sometimes late at night at the Magic Kingdom. One of the most popular attractions, at least for hardcore Disney fans who need to get off their feet and rest. There are times you can be on the People Mover and not see a soul. It is kind of spooky.
That's true. That's true. Now, okay, so here's my question. At Hollywood Studios, can you think of a really good place where, like, I'm trying to rack my brain.
I couldn't think of a place in Hollywood Studios you can be alone.
Because, like, seriously, though, with how small that park is, and how, compact everything is and how many people they cram into that park, right? And are going to cram into that park once we get into, Galaxy's Edge. Honestly, there is not a quiet place in Hollywood Studios. I thought maybe like Star Wars Launch Bay a little bit, especially the later it gets, less people go in there. That's the only place I could think of that really had, not a lot of people sometimes in it. But for the most part, I think that they're, that park just gets crammed in of people.
The only place I can think of at the studios where you could maybe kind of be alone, and you're probably not going to be too alone, but probably the most would be that corner where they used to do Jedi Training Academy registrations. Kind of if you're facing 50s prime time, like you're standing in front of Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular, if you're looking to the right, there's kind of like a little corner there. There was like a merchandise stand for Indy, but like back in that corner, maybe.
Where it might be kind of dead, and honestly, I've never been in there because I don't care. But that location at Where Sounds Dangerous was with the Star Wars movies, or that's kind of like the vignettes of what happened in like the first 6 Star Wars movies. Right there in the front. I highly doubt that there are a lot of people that are going into that. So if you really wanted to get away, I think that would probably be a good place to go. Again, I don't know because I actually haven't been in there.
It's true. But then, if you're back in that corner, then Indiana Jones pops out with his whip and goes, and then pulls out a chainsaw and chases you into Echo Lake. So
you were waiting for me to shut up before you said
I gotta hold it. This is a good one. Okay, so I'm trying to think about the resorts. So we got French Quarter, Riverside kind of covered. We talked about Pop Century and Art of Animation with Hourglass Lake and Little Mermaid rooms.
Wilderness Lodge at in the Carolwood Pacific Room.
Ooh,
That's
totally
almost
by yourself.
always.
And that's great if you want to take a nap.
Yes. I love that room. It's so peaceful and cozy and warm. You got the fireplace going. Oh, especially when it gets cold. I know it doesn't get cold very often down in Florida, but those nights when it does get a little chilly, that's the perfect spot right there.
And you know what? This ain't a chainsaw, but I fell asleep in there one time and somebody came in with a vacuum and was like, and scared me to death with a vacuum. I mean, they were just doing their job, but it like scared the crud out of me. I'm like, just give me a warning, like tap my foot or something before you fire up a vacuum. I know they were just cleaning up. I mean, that's the role, but I mean, I was in a Walt Disney World, like 5th day of vacation, like good nap time and air conditioning because it was hot then.
They thought you were oh, I don't know. The hammocks?
Coronado's
Hammock?
hammock. Coronado, you can get kind of way back in the back too, kind of get by yourself, like back in the ranchos.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I'm going with a hammock, but that's just me. I like the hammocks.
But the hammocks are kind of on the front side of the water, where yeah, I guess
I mean,
anywhere
it
with
depends on.
construction too is a little spooky.
Well, yeah. And then the chainsaw guy comes up with like
Anybody, if you're on a construction site, anybody can pop out like a leaf blower or like a chainsaw and get you. You're just asking for it. Cranes are kind of spooky. Like, I don't know, especially at night. Cranes are kind of weird. They kind of spook me.
Cranes.
They're kind of spooky. I don't know, maybe not. Alfred says Walt Disney Presents. You can be in there by yourself.
I feel like less so now. Since they started adding the characters in there and they started doing the movie previews in there and stuff like that, I feel like unfortunately that stuff has drawn, I mean, the previews is the unfortunate part because it's not the story of Walt, but I feel like that has drawn people into One Man's Dream now, which they should have been going in there in the first place because it's a fantastic exhibit, but yeah, so I don't know.
Jennifer's got another good one. And this is kind of an ironic one, but I know what she's saying. I know where she's going here. She says the boardwalk at night, not next to the resort, but around the edges. And there are times, again, if you get up super early and run in the morning, you're the only one out there. You know, there's maintenance people and so forth because they're always like, cleaning. But there are times where it is sparsely populated out there. And the thing is, too, I think a lot of people are scared of like carnival stuff. Like, think about it, you got carnival games there that aren't open, but like, that there's probably like a, some kind of a clown, like a carnival boardwalk type clown with a chainsaw. Like he's under that canvas, just waiting for the
that creepy clown pool is ready for you. Yeah. I'm just saying, yes,
ready to swallow you because he's laughing at you just every time you look at him. Especially the path from boardwalk to the studios, like that.
That is definitely
just right there, just waiting.
Yes, that oftentimes is very deserted. I mean, not during the middle of the afternoon, but late at night or early in the morning. Yes, that pathway. Yeah. I think especially that tunnel in between, like that. Yes, dude, that can be really creepy. This turned into a weird show.
It is. That's kind of the deal. We're trying to do a Halloween show without doing a Halloween show. So yeah, you know what though? I've run past that many times pre-dawn, and I've wondered, like, does that creepy clown eat runners for breakfast? He probably does.
No, it just spits them out.
I hope no kids are listening to this show because they're never going to stay at Boardwalk.
No, probably not.
That's true. He doesn't eat runners. He just spits runners out.
He just spits them out. Yeah.
He's like, not for you today, runner. We're throwing you in the pool. Mandy says Streets of America could have been used to be isolated back up when it was at the studios.
Yes. What about some of those like alcove places at the beach club and yacht club where you can just kind of sit and relax, and there's usually nobody that comes back, everybody's walking past you, like you could see everybody, they're walking past you, but they're not like stopping and sitting or going. I don't know.
Bellevue Lounge too can be isolated sometimes, especially like in the afternoon if you're over there.
Yes, all the lounges I think can be isolated in the afternoon because not as many people think about going to a bar in the afternoon. It's 2 o'clock. Let's drink.
It's kind of just a place to chill. We've done that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The bartender pops up with the chainsaw. No, just kidding. I'm trying to think so Boardwalk. Like scale 1 to 10. How scary is the Boardwalk just in general? Like
Well, the clown is a 10. Those
The
chairs, those little
chairs,
girl chairs, those are a definite 10.
that's
That's
the
like a 30. That's like, yeah, those are scary.
I think I've told on this podcast before that when I was a kid, I had this recurring nightmare that a high chair at my grandma's house was chasing me.
Yes, you did.
Oh, dude, scariest thing ever. That's like a million on the scale of 1 to 10. That thing and it used to almost get me every night, almost every night.
Aw,
And he
poor
had
little
like
Mikey.
he had like a legion of high chairs behind him, and it was kind of like Fantasia. They'd all march in unison and just chasing me around my grandma's house.
Hey,
all
Mike,
the time.
there's something called therapy. You may need to go.
That's what this podcast turned into. It is therapy. It's cheap.
If there's any therapist that listen to the show that could tell Mike what his dream means, please do.
The only thing is that high chair did not have a chainsaw and come at me. I don't know what it was going to do when it caught me, but it was weird. It was probably just going to strap me and feed me green beans or something. I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah. So any other things? So we're kind of, I think we've kind of exhausted.
I think we've exhausted everything. Yeah.
My chainsaws at Walt Disney World.
At this point, we've exhausted everything. I can't think of anything. But you know what's great? I am sure that our listeners, when they come in on Friday, are going to be like, "How on earth could you forget this?" And you know what? They're going to let us know in the comments on Facebook, because that's what they're good at, is letting us know the things that we stupidly forgot about and was like, "Oh, it's so obvious stuff."
And the one that's getting the most love, Alan just repeated it again, and it got multiple mentions in the chat and the Facebook as we recorded live, was just Morocco, the back of Morocco. Really, that is probably the most isolated you can be, but you're also within you're within a major theme park with tons.
Well, because you really don't feel like you're anywhere but Morocco. Like you really feel like you are in that area. There is nobody around you. It's so immersive. I mean, that word is absolutely true. You definitely feel immersed in like you're actually there. It's awesome. It's so fantastic. It's the pavilion you're not going to, but you really need to. Yeah,
absolutely. It is. I mean, I bet you people go to Epcot 10 times before they ever explore all the way to the back of that pavilion.
100%. I did. Definitely.
All right. Well, we're going to close out today's show. Hey, one thing I want to mention real quick that I think is very interesting for a Disney fan. And this is the second time Disney's done this. They did this back over the Labor Day holiday to kind of fill in a specific week where they offered a package that was only at certain resorts, and it was only for, you had to check in on this date and you had to check out on that date. And they're doing it again with this. It's called the Walt Disney World Christmas Time package, where it's from December 17th to the 22nd. Very specific. Got to stay at a moderate deluxe or deluxe villa accommodation. And you got to get a certain length of tickets. But what it does, if you stay from the 17th to the 22nd, you got to book this as a special package. But you're getting a lot of exclusive experiences, like a Christmas party ticket. You're getting a dinner at Epcot. You're getting just lots of goodies. And I just want to get your feedback on this, Rikki, because I like this idea, because what it does, it basically bundles a great experience at Walt Disney World if Christmas is your focus. If you really want to see the Christmas party, you really want to see Candlelight Processional, you really want to do this and that, it kind of puts it all into one place, but it's not flexible at all. It's December 17th to the 22nd, but I like this. It's an option for people. I can tell that I'm boring you here.
No. I think
it's exciting, man. I hate Christmas.
Rawr, Christmas, rawr, then a chainsaw Santa comes out.
Like Santa is not going to pop up and get you at the Christmas party. I promise that is not going to happen.
No, I do. I think it's a really interesting option, because usually with these special packages, they have special extras that get put in that aren't that you can't do anywhere else. So I think that that's a really interesting thing that Disney offers. So if you can get down there during that specific time and you're guaranteed these things, I absolutely think you should consider one of these packages, because I think that it really makes sure that you get to see the holidays the way that Walt Disney World intends you to see them. So you get to see everything that everybody clamors to see, and you don't have to fight for it. You don't have to get that dining package for Candlelight Processional. You just get to see it. So I think it's a really awesome thing that they're offering.
Yeah, and it's not, the thing is, like, when you price it out, it's not that, like, if you were buying all the components separately, you're going to pay about the same for your hotel, your tickets, your Christmas party tickets, your dining and so forth. But the thing is, basically what happens is when you check in, you get a credential. I'm guessing like a lanyard with
kind of like a media thing.
Kind of like a media thing. And so you're covered. Like you get exclusive access to these events. And it's a VIP experience. So, and you're not paying a gigantic premium for it if you're going to go at that time. So it's not like they're charging you out the nose. You're going to pay about the same you would booking everything individually, but it's kind of just, it's all covered. If you want to have a Christmas, if you want to have a Christmas really fun experience, this is the way to go. If you can make that week work. Now you can't do it at the beginning. Obviously they're probably looking at the numbers and saying it's kind of soft from the 17th to the 22nd. We're going to throw this in here to kind of fill some rooms. I like that idea. They did this right after Labor Day. I think it was like the 3rd to the 8th of September, and they focused it on Halloween events. So food and wine events I threw in too. I can't remember exactly what that had.
Yeah, I think they did. Yeah, I think they threw in both.
So
yeah, I think it's a fantastic option, and if you really can swing it, and I think it's really reasonable for families, who are able to do it as well. So I think if you can swing it, absolutely consider it.
That's right. All right. Well, that's going to do it for today's show. No more chainsaws. We're going to put it away for the year, but hey.
Thank goodness.
Right.
I won't be putting it away because I will be seeing chainsaws in real life this weekend. So yes,
look at me. So there you go.
I will. That's going to be the most terrifying thing out of all of it. It's not going to be the guy chasing me after with the chainsaw. It's going to be, oh man, this makes me think of Mike.
There's Mike again. Okay. So anyway, we appreciate you joining us here live in the chat. Thanks to everybody who does that. We record again about 5:30 Eastern every Monday. So drop by the Facebook page for that. And thank you so much for downloading the show, streaming the show, spreading the word about the show on social media. Thank you for those iTunes reviews and ratings. We really appreciate that. We're kind of pushing for those because some of those are expiring. Some of those have been up there over 10 years now. So they do kind of, I think, fall off. So if you could give us a new, maybe not this show. You don't have to mention that we talk about change around all the time. It's kind of an one-off show. But we love the kind words. So please.
This is what happens when Pam is not here. I'm just saying. When you get Mike and Ricky together, you get crazy stuff.
Coming back next week, so I had to get this one in before she got back. So
she's not going to want to sponsor the podcast anymore.
The show is brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. At least I think it is. So if you want to book this Christmas time package or any Walt Disney World Vacation, Disney Cruise Line, Disneyland Adventures by Disney, do support the agency that lets us bring this all to you for free. And they're over at themagicforless.com. Check out all the great specials. Mention the show when you're filling out that free no obligation quote, and I'll get back to you right away. We'll work together to plan a great vacation sans chainsaws. I promise you. And
if you don't want to work with Mike, don't mention the show.
Exactly. If you're like, man, I've never heard of the Be Our Guest podcast, please let Mike be my agent.
I don't want Mike to be my agent. Yeah.
Hurt my feelings, but you can put that on the line too. Anyway, and if you do put somebody else chainsaw to you, I'm going to find you and chase you with the chainsaw with no blade. Just
so rude.
I know I am rude. So anyway, we are going to ask you to follow us on the social media. I don't know.
Maybe not.
We're at
because I'm going to be there with lots of good content to share this weekend. Yes, that's why.
Lots of actors with chainsaws. Can you do that?
I will make sure that I film somebody with a chainsaw this weekend. Yes.
And hashtag RAWR. Rawr.
Rawr.
There you go. So follow us on the social media at Be Our Guest Pod, at Be Our Guest Mike. And the Facebook page is facebook.com/Be Our Guest Podcast and youtube.com/Be Our Guest Podcast. Subscribe over there to help me show Mallory that we're real YouTubers, even though we aren't going to have a million subscribers. I told her we have almost 300. We're almost to a million. Place fight.
It's the same difference, right?
Exactly. All right. So again, support the show on Amazon. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. Getting that last minute Halloween costume. Prime can still get it there on time by Wednesday, and it supports the show at the same time. Hey, maybe you need to do some yard work. You need a chainsaw. Get one there. That'd be a great one because those are big purchases. So we, really appreciate that. We'll probably come with a plane. So anyway, we're going to get out of here. Too many Coke Zeros today, but had a good time. I love talking Disney with you guys. I love you guys. And hopefully maybe if you're on a long run, you're walking the dog, maybe you got a laugh out of this. Maybe you jumped the first time I said it. Maybe the 17th time you're like, God, I hope he doesn't do that chainsaw thing again. I get it. I know we won't do it again next week. We're done. So, yeah, that's it. So for Ricky and Pam, I'm Mike. Wish you a great weekend. Whatever you do, stay safe. And remember, on Halloween, we'll have the Wednesday show on Halloween. No, but just get it in your mind. Please do drive slowly. Watch out for all the ghosts and goblins because maybe some communities might trick or treat this weekend, the weekend prior. So little kids and big kids alike all get excited to go trick or treat. They zigzag back and forth across the street. Even if you're rushing home, it's a Friday evening, you want to get home and get the weekend kicked off. Slow down, watch for everybody, let everybody have the fun out in the community, and let's make this an awesome Halloween celebration for everybody. So for Ricky and Pam, I'm Mike. Wish you a happy Halloween, and we'll see you again on Monday. So until then, we'll see you real soon. Rawr.
know it was coming.
Couldn't help it. Oh my gosh, that was so fun. That was so stupid, but thank you, chat, for
Oh, that was so stupid. Sometimes we do stupid shows. I don't even know what to call this show.
I have no idea what. I'm not even mentioning that we talked about chainsaws. That'd be a universal podcast. Like, oh, it's a
That'll be a surprise for everybody.
This so I don't lose it. 1399 RAWR.
Oh my goodness. I don't even know.
Yeah, we had a guy when I worked at Silo X, because I just kind of worked in the maze, but there was a guy that worked at the end of the haunted house that was the chainsaw guy. That dude, he liked his job too much. Like, I love scaring people. That dude is probably doing 40 to life right now because he just wanted to murder people. And of course, they gave him the chainsaw. Now, of course, no blade, but I mean, he'd go right after people and he'd run that thing on like metal and it would spark. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, like, I was like, they're gonna have to call an ambulance because he would freak people out so much. I mean, I'm surprised it didn't just like stop their hearts. Like, I mean, I got a good laugh out of people. Like, if people fell down because I jumped out and startled them so bad, that was hilarious. Like, I'd laugh so hard I'd almost die. But like, this dude was evil. Like, he'd have people like praying, like, please, Lord, let me out of this haunted. And he'd just turn the thing up even more. Like, come on now. Like, these people paid like $20 to get in here. Like, come on, let them leave alive.
What's the point? They wanted to be scared. They came in.
Yeah,
they came in know what they were going for.
They want to be scared, but they also want to leave, like, you know, like without having to go get a pacemaker. You know what I'm saying? Like, come. Anyway, let's get out of here. All right, well, Rikki, have fun, and I'll be watching on social media.
All right, I'll see you next week. Maybe not. We'll see. Whatever. We'll
all right. See you later.
All right. Bye, guys.